Thank you for joining us today. Now, Erin, would you mind just telling me a little bit about yourself and your coaching?
Yep. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me on today. So my name is Erin. I am the owner of Coaching Your Intuition. I specialize in working with young people, coaching young people, being that person just to empower young people to find their voice. So when I do coaching sessions with young people, it's usually either group sessions within schools, youth settings, community centres, or one-to-one, and that's just through referrals for parents. And so it's sort of just about creating that safe space for a young person. There's no authority, there's no judgment. I'm just creating a space for a young person to either just to express themselves, talk about kind of their emotions, and we looking at working on different tools, activities, just to be able to support them through their emotions and through their thought process as a young person. For me, it's really about just providing young people with, I always say it, with an imaginary briefcase, and they walk around that throughout life, and they can dip into that briefcase whenever they need to. So I've always worked with young people. I've had probably about 15 years experience working with young people.
Okay. Now, on your website, you talk about bounce back, about
Yeah.
to develop a bounce back attitude. What does it mean for you to bounce back?
So for me, again, this is more of a personal experience, and that's why I use the bounce back. Not so much in my childhood, but in adulthood, going through things like, moving area, marriage, children. I later on found out that I didn't have the tools and the ability to bounce back from life challenges. So, the imbalance of emotions, which we all go through, and when I mean imbalance of emotions, when we react very easily, when we get triggered, I showed a lot of, for me, it was a lot of fear, but then from fear came anger, and I just couldn't snap out of that anger. And I couldn't, for me, an argument would mean the end of the world. If there was an argument, then, oh my God, we're going to get divorced, or there's going to be like a huge issue. And I just couldn't snap out of that fear.
Yeah.
So I had to really learn tools on, okay, when I'm in this situation where something's happening that's making me feel uncomfortable, that's fine. It's normal. It's an emotion. But how can I jump back out of that? How can I then become more balanced? How can my nervous system become calm? And so, again, the tools that I teach young people and families, it's all about, okay, these emotions are going to come. You're going to get fear. You're going to get anger. But there are tools that you can do, that you can use, that will help you get out of that fear. And that's what I call the bounce back approach. For
Perfect.
being able to bounce back from certain life challenges. Because that's when we can't bounce back, that's when we go deeper into that dark hole. So say if we've got a negative thinking, I'm no good. And if we can't then change that with well, I'm trying my best. And if we keep going through that cycle of I'm no good, no one likes me, I'm not going to be anything in life, what's the point? We're going to keep going down into that hole. And that's when we lead to things like depression, anxiety, stress, because we're not able to bounce back from that thought. And so that's where I come into, and I'm trying to educate children. Well, okay, we have negative thoughts and feelings, and that's fine. But then, what's the alternative? How can we bounce back from that thought and feeling?
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. Avanti Fostering is the independent fostering agency, and so we come into contact with a lot of children, and
Mm-hmm.
we offer a lot of training to foster parents. Some of this involves something called PACE training,
Okay.
and some of this training involves some of the points that you have mentioned. Um, and it's very interesting because you have um, children that may have come from challenging backgrounds. They have mistrust in adults,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
and it causes them to act out in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
And as a foster parent, it can be quite challenging and frustrating, but seeing and reframing how to approach the child can really help that relationship. So you used a nice word, tool. So having those tools, thinking of them as if they are tools, can really help. I think so. You mentioned the briefcase, which is a nice analogy. So if you
Yeah,
feel that if you can pull out a tool, so you feel in control of the
yes,
situation, and you can
yeah,
if you're driving, you can regain control
yeah,
of that car, and so you don't feel like you're going out of control.
yeah.
Okay,
And that's where the empowerment comes into it. My experience of working with young people, and I think it's not just young people, it's humanity in general, you know, when we don't feel when we don't feel in control of our choices and our freedom, fear comes into it. When fear comes, then a whole different load of other emotions, you know, roll off from that. And so, like you were saying about being that positive role model, you know, everyone in life, and especially young children, especially children from, you know, who come from challenging backgrounds, that's all they need. And the reason why they do play up is because they have that fear. And until we understand that, you know, and there's, you know, we can stigmatize a lot and judge a lot in terms of saying, you know, this child is naughty, or because of that child's experiences, they're going to become like this. But it's just if we understand that child is like that because there's a fear. And I always believe nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, I'm just going to be a rebel today, or I'm just going to cause problems. It all comes down to a fear. And that fear comes from safety. And it's up to us as adults to make sure that every young person we come across, we are we are being that positive role model. We are ensuring that they are safe. I just did a meditation for a group of young people yesterday, and the focus was safety and being calm. Because when we are grounded in that safety and calmness, again, then we see life in a different way. The
yeah,
problems will still be there. Their experiences of trauma will still be there, but their way of thinking and their mindset will be different because they feel grounded and they feel safe. And I think
definitely.
that's it's going back to the basics, isn't it, of life and what as an individual do we need to survive?
As this is Children's Mental Health Week this week, the theme is My Voice Matters. So Children's Mental Health Week, it was launched in 2015. And so for this week, they have a lot of resources, free resources on their website. What do you think about why is it this week in particular, why is it important for people to think about Children's Mental Health Week?
Well, I suppose every day, just like any other
Yeah,
um kind of mission out there, it's always important to think about Children's Mental Health Week. Um, but this is the time where, especially I think for the education system to, and I see a lot, I've reached out to a lot of schools about, I'm offering a service where I'm offering a 2 hours free service for schools to take on, where I come in and I, again, empowering people to raise their voice. We talk about emotions, we talk about feelings, we do activities, and it's just so nice to see so many schools are on board. They absolutely love it. But it's what I think we struggle with as a nation in terms of families, in terms of schools, is time. And so we all want the best for our children. We all want the best for our future. But I think what is the barrier is communication and time. And this week, it's saying to the world, like, just stop whatever is going on in the world. Stop whatever's going on in terms of business wise. This week is the time to focus on our children. Just everything that's going on in the world, it's just allowing people just to stop and just to be like, leave the curriculum, leave the business part of things, and let's just focus on going back to the basics of being there for our children. And I just feel like there's just an exciting energy around, and there's a lot of talk about women's mental health that's coming up soon, and again, it just seems to all kind of fit together and all be aligned. And
definitely. I mean, a lot of people may make the point that why is it just for a week? But I think, this is for every single day. But
yeah,
having a special week or having a special day, I think it's easier for, especially in the media, to promote it and really highlight it.
and like I said, it's that
Um,
time, isn't it? So everything pauses for that week, and that focus is just on one thing. And
definitely.
we always struggle with time. Like, yeah, we want to do amazing things, but we just don't have the time. But this is the week where we can say, actually, this is the week where we can just, I suppose it's like a positive excuse. Like, it's the week to do this, so let's do this. And even though, yes, it should be drawn out across the whole year, but, small steps. And I think this gives the people a chance to kind of, to be, it's a new year as well. So just to kind of, tap back into that kind of mentality and that thinking and refresh and get ready for that spring season of let's focus
Exactly.
on our mental health
Yeah. because the new year is going very fast already.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you know, people have good intentions for the new year in January, and January is already gone. We're going
Yeah.
through February very, very fast. So I think it's nice to take stock, which is something it's very, very important.
Yeah.
Um, Now, let me just share my screen here. So this is your website here. So Coaching Intuition. So anyone that is interested can contact you here.
Yes.
Um,
And also
and
find me on the Instagram, which I probably use a little bit more. That's just coaching your intuition. Yeah,
perfect. And I'll
that's it.
put all the details to your page in the post. And also, for more information about Children's Mental Health Week, you can visit children'smentalhealthweek.org.uk. And they have a lot of free resources that I was looking through, some top tips. And I think it would be quite nice to even print some of these out, maybe stick it on the fridge. And
Definitely.
also for us, this is Avanti Fostering. So there's a huge need for foster parents in the UK. And if you are interested, please let us know. We offer full training, 24/7 support, a very competitive weekly amount, which helps with the cost of living. Um, so we would really appreciate it if you'd get in contact with us. Um, and yeah, that's through
Amazing
that.
work. Well done.
Thank you very much. We are really, really passionate about giving these children a second chance, and also for the foster parents as well. It's they learn a lot of skills
Yeah.
through the training, and it's extremely rewarding on a personal level. But like I said, we also do financially compensate you because it can be challenging. The cost of living crisis, everything is so expensive.
Yeah.
So some people may be put off by that. There are a few requirements to be a foster carer. You must be 25 or older, have a spare room, a spare bedroom. Having a spare bedroom means that the child coming in to your home feels safe,
Yeah.
safe space where they can lock the door and they can interact when they choose to. And also to be a UK resident or permanent um, visa to remain in the UK, and also to be in good health as well. So we can go through discussing these various points with you and give you more information about making a real difference in a child's life.
That's
Okay.
amazing. I always feel as well, there's so much love in the world, and for a child to, and there are children out there, unfortunately, that will sometimes never experience true love. And I think that the service that you provide, it's like you said, you're creating that space where children can have a second chance at love, um, and for adults, for those who, for whatever reason go into fostering, but they get to experience, receiving and giving out that love as well. I believe children are such good educators. They're our teachers,
Yeah,
um, and I think we've all got something to learn from them, and especially for children who come from challenging backgrounds. Yes, it can be challenging on both sides, but like you said, the rewards that you gain, the education, the learning, the life skills that we gain both
yeah,
ways, it's priceless.
definitely. And that belief. So when someone has that belief in themselves that,
Yeah,
yes,
they
I'm a
won't
good
stop until
person, I'm a
yeah,
good person, for example, positive affirmations. I feel that in life, we find a way to make these things the truth.
yeah,
So rather than looking at the negative side, we'll look at the positive side, and that becomes a skill.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I think it's very
definitely.
important.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you so much, Erin. And if anyone else seeing this would like um, for me to discuss how they are contributing to Children's Mental Health Week, please let me know and get in contact. So thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate it for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, have a wonderful day.
And you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.